in the Jake Tapper book, but I'm going to be reading the MAHA Report. It's broken down to 4 sections. And it's the 4 sections of what contributes to chronic disease in our kids. And it reads like this: poor diet, section 1, environmental chemical exposure, section 2, lack of physical activity, and over-medicalization. Again, it's about 70 pages, and one of the most fascinating things about it is every single statement is sourced. There's an abundance of sources. But when they were talking about the environmental chemical exposure, that's something that my eyes immediately went to. And you got to listen to what they say. While children are uniquely vulnerable, they're also exposed to hazardous substances in different ways. Listen to this. This is from the MAHA Report. Virtually every breast milk sample important for infant health, growth, and development tested in America contains some level of persistent organic pollutants, including pesticides, microplastics, and dioxins. Let me just say that one more time. Nearly every breast milk sample in this country contains pollutants, pesticides, microplastics, and dioxins. That's insane. And we finally have a government agency acknowledging this. The MAHA movement isn't new. It's just gone mainstream. And there's been a lot of people shouting this stuff from the rooftops for a very long time. And I just want to thank the president and RFK for bringing this to mainstream. And thanks to all the red-pilled moms out there who also have been fighting for this kind of stuff for a long time. But there's more. Infants and toddlers ingest much more household dust than adults, much of which contains detectable levels of lead, flame retardants, and pesticide residues. With infants putting their hands in objects in their mouth nearly 10 times per hour, they are frequently ingesting invisible contaminants like lead dust, which often exceeds the federal hazard levels in many homes nationwide. The 2009 American Healthy Home Survey, a collaborative effort by EPA and HUD, demonstrated widespread presence of pesticides in U.S. homes, with almost 90% measurable levels of at least one insecticide on the floors. Nearly 25% of children live within close proximity of the 1,341 Superfund sites, areas contaminated with industrial toxic waste. Depending on their level of contamination and cleanup status, it could further compound their risk for chemical exposure and associated adverse outcomes. And more than 8 billion pounds of pesticides are used each year in food systems around the world, with the U.S. accounting for roughly 11%, or more than 1 billion pounds. So that's the MAHA Report. If you want to read the entire MAHA Report, I've tweeted it out on my X account, at Chris Hand on Air, so you can find it and do your own dig. Now, they say that this is just the beginning, and RFK Jr. was talking about this yesterday. They did a big MAHA commission unveil, and there's all the cabinet members in attendance, and RFK Jr. was there as well, talking about the importance of this report and how this is the first time that we have ever seen the government acknowledge and give a clear-eyed assessment of what's happening with the health and chronic disease when it comes to our children. This is RFK Jr. yesterday inside the White House.
That the U.S. will cease to be a world superpower if we continue spending 2 times more than any country on health care, while living less than citizens of other countries and enduring fertility crisis, a crisis in recruiting people to the military, and the ruinous health care costs. Health expenditures are the largest part of the federal budget, and we get sicker for each and every dollar we spend. 90% of that spending is going for chronic disease. And everyone agrees it's a moral failing that U.S. children are on track today to live shorter lives than their parents. Yep. The first time in American history where that is the case. This report is the first time in modern American history that the federal government gives a clear-eyed assessment of what is happening to children's health and the potential causes.
The first time in history that the government has given an assessment of what's happening and a clear picture of the causes. It is. And thank you, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., for making this happen. It can't be understated how blessed we are to have RFK Jr. in there as HHS director. It can't be understated how grateful I am that we have a guy that's not shying away from what we all know has been happening, but leaning into it and trying to find solutions. It is a blessing that we have RFK Jr. in there. An absolute blessing. And Stephen Miller was talking about this. Stephen Miller, obviously cabinet member, he's in this round table, the MAHA Commission, as they were debuting all their facts. And Stephen Miller said what we're all thinking. Think about how extraordinary this moment is to have RFK Jr. here as HHS director unveiling this report.
Can't tell you how much that means to me, and thank you as well, Lee, for the very kind words. And you're right, I think about this first and foremost through the prism of being a dad of 3 young children, and I'm married to a MAHA mom. My wife, Katie, is the one who deserves all the credit for educating me about this issue on the birth of our children. But I first want to just take a moment for us to think about how extraordinary this moment is, that Bobby's sitting there right now, not as a private citizen, not as the leader of a nonprofit, but as the Secretary of Health and Human Services, right, behind government seal, issuing, this is a government report, right? His whole life, Bobby has issued private reports, held private press conferences, engaged in private advocacy. And after generations of all of that work, his life's work now has a government seal on it. Think about how remarkable that is.
It's pretty cool,
Pretty cool, man.
Yes.
I heard my audio doubling up.
doubling up.
Is that? Where's that coming from? You know? Is that me?
I'm not sure, but I'll figure it out for you.
All right, my bad, dude. Sorry. President Trump was there as well at the MAHA Commission report, and he said, listen, this is a real issue, and we're learning a lot more about it. And over the past few years, we've built a coalition that is going to fix it.
As we mark a historic milestone in our mission to make America healthy again. We started Make America Great Again, Bobby. I'm not sure you can get away with that without having to make a major payment because, this was...
I copyright
MAHA. He goes to MAHA. But no, MAHA's become hot. Over the past few years, we've built an unstoppable coalition of moms and dads, doctors and young people and citizens of all backgrounds who have come together to protect our children, very importantly, keep the dangerous chemicals out of our food supplies, get toxic substances out of our environment, and deliver the American people the facts as to really where we're going. And we want to have what we deserve, and we want to be healthy, and we want to have a lot of good things happen, and I think we're going to have that. I think this is just the beginning. We have some of the most brilliant people sitting on this panel, and likewise in the audience, I recognize so many of them are in the administration. With us today is the man who fought harder than anyone I know to bring these issues to the center of American politics, our Secretary of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Bobby, thank you very much.
Yeah, it is just, it's not the end. We're just at the beginning. But just to watch the government with a whole government approach looking at these issues that we have been screaming about on the internet and silenced about, it's fantastic. It's fantastic. And as a dad with 4 young kids, this stuff is wild that's in our food. And you're seeing a movement being created, and then you're forcing private industries to react. We're seeing companies already switching away from the seed oils. Shout out to Steak and Shake. You're seeing companies removing the food dyes and lowering the amount of ingredients that they have in certain products. And that's because of the movement. That's because moms and dads and grandparents started making conscious efforts and conscious decisions about what they're going to buy. This isn't just the government forcing something on people. This is the people saying, we need it this way. This is the American public demanding the changes, and you're seeing it reflected now in your government. And the findings in the MAHA report, as Donald Trump put it, were alarming. And he talks about some of the findings in the report while sitting next to RFK Jr. And the findings in the report, I mean, they're not good, man. And you know a lot of these findings already if you've been paying attention, but just to reiterate.
4 months ago, I created the Presidential Commission to Make America Healthy Again, and today the commission officially delivers its first report on childhood health. Here are just some of the alarming findings, and they really are alarming. It's unbelievable, terrible. More than 40% of American children now have at least one chronic health condition. Since the 1970s, rates of childhood cancer have soared in many cases by nearly 50%, 50%. Well, in the 1960s, less than 5% of the children were obese. Now over 20% are obese. A few decades ago, 1 in 1, think of this one. This is, to me, the one that gets me every time, and it seems to be getting worse. Just a few decades ago, 1 in 10,000 children had autism. Today, it's 1 in 31.
And we finally have a government looking at these issues. Finally. I mean, think about it. 4 out of 10 kids in America, 4 out of 10 kids have at least one chronic health condition. Childhood cancer since the 70s, soaring by 50%. 5% of kids were obese. Less than 5% of kids were obese in the 60s. Today, now it's over 20%. And then the autism, 1 in 10,000 to 1 in 31. How do we let this happen when we spend more on healthcare than any other country in the world? How is it that our kids have a shorter life expectancy than we do? The government needs to do something about it. And now with Donald Trump at the helm and RFK in charge of HHS, we're going to see something done about this.
Last time I heard the number is 1 in 34, right? Now it's 1 in 31. There's something wrong, and we will not stop until we defeat the chronic disease epidemic in America. We're going to get it done. For the first time ever, this report examines some of the root causes that many believe are making our children sicker and our population sicker, I guess. It just doesn't stop with the children. It's our population also, such as the ultra-processed foods, over-medicalization and over-prescription and widespread exposure to potentially toxic chemicals. Unlike other administrations, we will not be silenced or intimidated by the corporate lobbyists or special interests. And I want this group to do what they have to do. We have to spell it out. In some cases, it won't be nice or it won't be pretty, but we have to do it. When you hear 10,000, it was 1 in 10,000, and now it's 1 in 31 for autism. I think that's just a terrible thing. It has to be something on the outside. It has to be artificially induced, has to be. And will not allow our public health system to be captured by the very industries it's supposed to oversee. So we're demanding the answers. The public is demanding the answers, and that's why we're here.
And we thank you for doing that. Now, RFK had a lot to say as well. He talked about the report. He talked about President Trump, and he talked about what we're seeing companies do in reaction already to the MAHA movement. I'll bring you those highlights when we get back. It's 9:21 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand for my friends at the Glock store, and the big open house is happening a week from Saturday. Yes, that's right, Saturday, May 31st. They do it every year. They throw open the doors. They roll out the red carpet for Nashville, and they have raffles, deals, and full auto fun. Now, I was live at the Glock store yesterday, and I shot an $18,000 firearm, a fully automatic APC-9. You can shoot that as well at the open house for just $35. Yeah, there's going to be rentals on all the fully auto, plus giveaways galore. You could win custom Glocks, premium gear, and more. And even if you don't win, the deals are going to be wild. You need ammo? Of course you do. You never have enough. There's going to be a Burrow Bullets blowout. 1,000-round tac packs, 9mm 223, packed in custom ammo boxes. You're not going to believe the prices. It's all happening Saturday, May 31st, minutes from the airport, worth the drive from anywhere at the one, the only Glock store.
We've got the latest on the search for answers about a small plane crash in Southern California. Also, you're going to have a lot of company on the roads if you're headed out this holiday weekend. Those stories and more at 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
How much company, Joan?
Lots and lots.
I'm leaving. I'm leaving today.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, we're going to the beach.
So, yeah, you've got to pack your patience.
Oh my gosh.
I absolutely hate that phrase.
I know.
Yeah.
Hey, shout out to my wife Virginia. She just sent me a picture.
Yeah.
She loaded up 4 kids and 2 dogs to bring them to the dog sitter. So that's what she's doing this morning.
Oh, yeah.
Not all heroes wear capes.
Yes. She's a beautiful hero, too. So,
Amen.
yeah.
Amen. She's a looker. My dad always says that I have great taste in women. But Virginia has terrible taste in men. And, every time, it's so true. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. We are live on the FM dial, the iHeartRadio app, the TuneIn app. You can watch the show. Super Talk TV is live. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Hit like, hit subscribe. I got kids that I need to send to summer camp. Speaking of that, my wife said to me last night, she's like, I booked summer camp already. You can stop saying that.
Yeah, but what kind of summer camp is this? Are they playing in cardboard boxes?
If Virginia booked it, I'm pretty sure it's not a work camp. I would have sent them to one that built a little bit more character, personally.
Yeah, with their teeny tiny hands.
But Virginia wants them to have things like fun. So I
Can
know.
you imagine?
It's a walk uphill for fun. That's what I used to do.
Both ways.
But listen, my kids, we're definitely a MAHA family, and that's because of my wife. She is just on top of things. But one of the big issues is kids aren't getting out and playing anymore, man.
Right.
They're just not. They're stuck in front of screens, and I say it all the time. It's a lot harder to get your kid away from the screen than it is to never give them the screen.
Yep.
And we have held out as long as humanly possible. We have an 11-year-old that doesn't own an iPad, doesn't own a cell phone. We don't let the kids hang out and use our cell phone unless they want to take a picture. That's pretty much the only time that we let them use the cell phone. But it's easier to do that than it is to realize, whoa, we've gone way too far down this road. We need to pull back.
Yeah, I didn't have a phone until I was 13, or no, I think it was 12. Right at the end of my 8th grade year, I got left at school all day by accident. And so my mom was like, maybe a phone would be nice to have for you.
Poor Mason.
It was
a lot of trauma.
It was a very interesting, yeah, for sure. But it was a nice little slide phone.
I'll tell you what, though, like if you start instilling these values in your kids young, then you get kids that are aware of it. My son Brooks, he's 7, and it was a couple weeks back. We're watching a show, and he just looks over at me, and goes, if we sit here any longer, we're just going to get fat. I'm going outside. And I was like, all right.
Nice.
I was like, way to go, man. That's what we need to do.
That's right.
Now I understand that a lot of this stuff that they're talking about in the MAHA Report, it's not going to be fixed by just going outside and running around. But RFK Jr. Did have a lot to say about the MAHA Report, what it says inside the report, and what they can do to fix the chronic disease epidemic in our kids. We'll bring you those highlights when we get back. It's 9:30, Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. It's now 9:30. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. There's a crash in Jolton to tell you about this morning. It's on the eastbound side of 24, right before Whites Creek Pike. It's causing a delay there in the traffic. All 6 people aboard a private business jet that crashed in San Diego yesterday are believed to have died. They included a music executive and the former drummer for the band The Devil Wears Prada, Daniel Williams. Today, the search for answers continues.
The NTSB says this plane likely had black boxes, and those will be crucial for the investigation into the cause of this crash. But we've heard from officials about the fact that this is a giant field of debris that stretches across really the entire block here, but they also might find some debris in other homes around the area. They've told people if they find any that they need to report it.
That's ABC's Trevor Ault. The body of a missing 12-year-old boy now recovered from the Red River in Clarksville. Enoch Tomba says that he took his 2 sons to Billy Dunlap Park on Sunday for a fun day, but everything changed in an instant.
I watched my son submerge, and he never came back up. And he never came back to me.
His body was recovered less than a mile from where he disappeared yesterday. There have been multiple drownings at that park in recent years. Millions of Americans hitting the road for Memorial Day weekend. Gasoline prices are cooperating. The national average for a gallon of regular unleaded is $3.18.
We are thankful that the gas prices are dropping because it gives us more opportunity, to have fun with each other, to go out and explore, and just see things more and be able to be more financially inclined instead of spending all our money on gas to travel to go where we need to go.
Yeah, it. AAA says more than 39 million Americans are traveling by car this weekend, including Chris's family. That's the latest news. Weather up next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
937 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. You can listen to us on iHeartRadio, tune in, the FM dial. You can watch the show. We're up on Super Talk TV, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and our personal favorite, YouTube. Shout out to everybody jumping in the YouTube chat. We always have a pop-in chat. I love how Murphy says it. It's like you got the conversation on the phones, you got the text line, and then it's just the wild, wild west in the YouTube chat.
For sure. It's going off today.
It's jumping. Join the conversation, 615-737-9986, or just jump in the chat on the YouTube channel. We appreciate it. However you want to join the show, you guys are the most important part of it, so thank you for being here, no matter how you're here. On the way, 10:05, we're going to be joined by Monica Page. She's going to be live from the White House North Lawn, recapping what was a wild week at the White House, from everything from that cordial meeting with President Cyril Ramaphosa of South Africa to what we saw yesterday with the MAHA Commission and the release of the MAHA Report. Yesterday, there was a big round table, and they were announcing the findings from the MAHA Report. And Secretary Kennedy, he took a second to just acknowledge what Donald Trump has done for this movement and what he's going to continue to do for the American people.
Trump is a populist president. He's a president. He's blamed for giving money to billionaires and all this stuff. We hear about that all the time. But he is on the side of the middle class, the working class, the poor in this country. People.
He's right. He's right.
And I've been following, I've met every president since my uncle was president. And I've never seen a president, Democrat or Republican, that is willing to stand up to industry when it's the right thing to do, and they're willing to talk about really difficult issues and to hold his stand on those issues. I've never seen anything like it, and I'm very, very grateful to you. I've sat with industry again and again in a room with him and heard him say, we can't do that. We're going to do something different, deliver news that they didn't want to hear. So I'm grateful to this. This is a milestone. There's never in American history has the federal government taken a position on public health like this.
Never. And we do owe Donald Trump a lot of credit to this. Donald Trump, something changed in Butler, Pennsylvania, and he wants his legacy to be that of peace and solving problems. And I don't understand how any Democrat could be against this. And we'll find some, I'm sure. But I go back to what RFK said a couple weeks ago. There are no Republican kids. There are no Democrat kids. There are just kids. And what these guys are trying to do via the MAHA Report is fix the health of all kids. Find the root causes of autism. Fix the food supply. Get kids back outside and make them healthy again. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful for all the people sitting at this table, including RFK.
And because of President Trump's leadership, it's not just one cabinet secretary, it's the entire government that is behind this report.
Everyone.
And I can say again, I talked a little bit about when I met Rachel Carson as a boy. My uncle tried to do this, but he was killed and it never got done. And ever since then, we've been waiting for a president who would stand up and speak on behalf of the health of the American people and say, there is no difference between good economic policy, good environmental policy, and good public health policy, and good industrial policy. We can have all of them, but we need a united cabinet, and we need to go forward as a single people. I want to thank you for that, President Trump.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he's absolutely right. I don't think any of this would be happening without President Trump. Again, this is on the heels of the release of the MAHA Commission report. And if you want to read the MAHA Commission report in its entirety, it's not a heavy lift. It's about 70-something pages, broken down into 4 sections. You can do it over the weekend. You got a long weekend, too, so you got extra time. And thank you to all the heroes in honor of Memorial Day that gave everything for this country. We appreciate the sacrifice, but you're going to have time. 72 pages. Go for it. Find it on my Twitter account, @ChrisHandOnAir. I retweeted out the entire report. You can find it there. But this report, It's going to start a national conversation. And RFK Jr. Did a media tour after the MAHA Commission convened, after they announced the report, and he was on Fox News, and he said he's looking forward to this national conversation.
The report is the beginning of a conversation. It's the first time in American history that all of government, the entire cabinet, most of whom participated in drafting this report or commenting on it, all reached a consensus. And the consensus is that we're in the middle of a chronic disease epidemic that is existential for our country. We spend $4.5 trillion a year on our health care. That's 2 to 3 times more than any European country spends. And yet we live 6 years less than they do. This is the first generation of American kids that is going to live shorter lives than their parents. They're going to live less happy lives. They're going to live less healthy lives. We are literally the sickest country in the world. And we know what the causes are. President Trump asked us to identify them. We're looking at chemical exposures, over-processed food, lack of exercise, and other indicators. 100 days or 60 days from now, we will publish a group of policy initiatives to end this epidemic in our country.
Well, I'm looking forward to the policy initiatives. It's good to see this in writing, what the issues are, but I'm more looking forward to how we're going to fix it. That's the main key. How are we going to fix it? And I hope that it's resolved rapidly. And RFK Jr., he's been on record. This isn't left. This isn't right. And after this report is released, he puts that into motion. He didn't just go on Fox News on the Will Cain show to talk about it. He also jumped on CNN to reach that audience. And I think it's a good move to do it. But on CNN, he addressed the fact that because of this movement, you're already seeing industry move, that this isn't going to be a government forcing it down your throat type thing. This is going to be the American people demanding it and industry responding.
And you're watching companies now that are changing their ingredients because of this movement, that are making good food more available to Americans because they're demanding it.
That's huge. It's because of you. It's because of your voice online. A lot of times people will tell me, oh, Chris, thank you so much for, speaking the truth and things like that. And, thank you for your radio show. And I'm like, don't discount your own voice and don't discount your own social influence. You absolutely have a voice. And in some cases, it's going to be louder than mine could ever be. And you need to use that voice. And a lot of people in the MAHA movement have been shouting this for a very long time. And that's what's helped advance the agenda of getting rid of this crap in our food and the pollutants in our air and everything. I mean, it's in everything. But RFK Jr. says it's your voice that has forced industry to already start making moves. It's you. You did this.
There was no demand for it before. This report is about getting every American to demand the accessibility to good whole food in their neighborhoods. And that, it's going to be a process, but it's already happening. You see these big fast food conglomerates that are switching from seed oils to beef tallow fat. You see them reducing the ingredients. You see Chobani yogurt changing its ingredients because of the demand that has happened because of the MAHA movement.
Again, this wouldn't happen if you didn't exercise your voice, both in real life and online, amplifying these messages. This is a movement. These companies wouldn't respond if you weren't there. These companies wouldn't have responded if you weren't changing your buying habits because of the junk that you're now realizing is in your food. It's going to take everybody to get this over the finish line, but we're already seeing industry react.
We are going to make sure they have apps that mothers who go into the grocery store have an app that they can send a flash on the barcode of every product and get a green light, red light, or yellow light. That will allow them.
HHS is creating that?
We're working with industry to do it, and they're already doing it. Mark Hyman's company has done it. Patrick Sonsingh's company has done it. There are many, many apps out there that I use one called Yucca. That is my wife and I consider it invaluable. You can go into any grocery store, flash it at any product, and you can get a go or a no on it. And as that happens, the market, we're not trying to create an anti-state here. We're trying to drive market forces that will drive change in the kind of food Americans get.
I love that. We're not trying to create an anti-state. We're trying to create a reaction that the market is going to make on its own. And you're seeing it. And he highlights it. You're watching the course correction in real time. And we already understand how many other countries don't allow this junk in their food. In fact, in America, we're already making food for other countries without the junk in it while still keeping the junk in it for our kids. It's crazy. We're ready to make this switch. The American people are ready. And we're ready to find out the answers, however uncomfortable they may be, when it comes to things like autism. We're very ready. And I know a lot of people out there are. Have you seen the show Love on the Spectrum? We were watching Love on the Spectrum, and it's a Netflix show where they find adults that are they have autism, and they're looking for that somebody. And honestly, it's one of the most heartwarming shows I've ever seen, and it's also the saddest I've ever felt, because there's a whole generation of individuals who have been forgotten because of the autism epidemic that has just rapidly increased in this country, and it is heartbreaking. And every time we talk about this, I'll get messages from you guys. I have an autistic son in his 20s. I have an autistic daughter in her 30s, and these adults have been forgotten, and they're going to be forgotten no more. And hopefully, when this is all said and done, we're going to see these rates of autism decline. And again, some of the answers they might find might make people uncomfortable. Does it have to do with the vaccines? This is a question that this administration is going to ask. And if they land on an answer that makes these medical companies and big pharma uncomfortable, I don't think that they're going to have an issue with that. You heard RFK moments ago saying Donald Trump is a populist president. He's looking out for the American people, and he doesn't have a problem telling big business and industry no. We finally have a president that's going to be willing to fight for us. We have RFK Jr. in there at HHS who's willing to fight for us. And I think we're going to see rapid change, Lord willing. Because if we don't course correct, well, the ramifications are catastrophic. It's not going to get better on its own. So they said 60 days to 100 days after this report was released yesterday, we're going to have some real answers on what the solutions could be on how to fix this. Something we're going to be keeping an eye on here at Super Talk 99.7 WTN, and something that I hope you keep an eye on as well. Again, don't forget how important your own social influence is. Don't forget, bring this report to your friends. Talk about it. Bring this to your coworkers. Bring it up in conversation. This is how we amplify the message. Don't discount your voice in all of this. We wouldn't have gotten here if you weren't sharing this stuff online. We wouldn't have gotten here if you weren't already changing your buying habits. So don't think, okay, now they got it. No. We got to keep our foot on the gas. It's 9:50 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Well, Russia and Ukraine are talking and swapping, and there's hope that it can lead to peace. And why a social media post sent stocks tumbling this morning. Those stories and more at 10 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Joan Jones in the newsroom. My name is Chris Hand, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Mason Fleming is producing. A couple people on the text line said, what app does RFK use to scan barcodes at the grocery store?
Yucca.
Yucca, Y-U-K-A.
Correct.
Yucca. Do you use Yucca, Joan?
I don't. I just learned of it today, and I can't wait to download it and use it.
So I learned of it when RFK talked about it last night when I was listening to that. And then I was looking at the screenshots, and it's like, oh, no. Oh, no. Got to get rid of those goldfish. Yeah. It's crazy.
Sure is.
So that's Y-U-K-A. It's definitely on the iPhone. I'm sure it's in the Google Play Store as well. If you need the link, you can text in 615-737-9986. I'll shoot it over to you. I shot it over to one listener, 8457. What was that app? Yeah, Yucca, Y-U-K-A. Everybody should be using that.
Yeah.
I mean, changing your buying habits is key to this whole thing. I tell my kids all the time, vote with your wallet. You can vote every single day. Vote with your wallet. And the other thing I say to my kids, which is it's the best, I always tell them that commercials are designed to trick you. And I'll say, they'll be like, ooh, that looks good. We should get it. And I'll say, you know what they never advertise on TV? Bananas.
Yes.
You never see a commercial for bananas.
You used to, though.
Well, not
the
anymore.
Chiquita banana commercial.
Oh, that's all right. Touche.
Yeah.
Touche. But you never see a broccoli commercial, do you?
Nope.
Any commercials for carrots?
Not that I've noticed lately.
So this is one of the things I tell my kids, especially when it comes to food. I say if they have to advertise, it's because they're trying to trick you. It's not good enough to buy on its own. And the other thing I say is if it has a cartoon character on it, they're tricking you. They're lying to you.
The animation is a deception.
The animation is a deception. You ever gone down the cereal aisle? You ready for this? You ready for this rabbit hole?
Oh boy.
Next time you go down the cereal aisle, look at the eyes of the cartoon characters and which way they're pointing on all the cereal boxes.
Okay.
Which way they're
Which way the character is looking.
Okay.
They look down. And they look down so that way they can make eye contact with the kids when they look up. So that way you get a connection with the character. Sleazeballs.
Interesting.
That is sleazy.
It's very sleazy. It's very sleazy. Not a fan. So yeah, I try to be a hardliner. I said nothing with cartoon characters. And nothing that is advertised on TV.
These tricks are not for kids.
Yeah, these tricks are not for kids.
Do your kids eat Lucky Charms or anything like that?
Okay, so I'll be honest with you. Everything in moderation, including moderation. And we do have a St. Patrick's Day tradition of Lucky Charms.
Okay.
That's cool.
So, you know what I mean? Listen,
Yeah.
I'm not a hardliner where I'm just going to be like, no, you can't have anything fun. But everything in moderation, including moderation. Does that make sense?
I think, that's smart. That's definitely smart.
But
My mom used to buy the boxes. Do you remember the little boxes?
the little box. Oh, yeah.
They were the tiny boxes.
Yep.
So my mom would buy them, and they had all the Lucky Charms and all those Captain Crunch and all that. But that was and we would have them on vacation.
Yep.
But that was the only time we could ever have them.
Exactly, but
Yeah.
it's a little special occasion.
Yep.
You can't have McDonald's every night for dinner and then expect to be healthy. So yeah, everything in moderation. If it doesn't have if they can't advertise it on TV, it's probably pretty good.
Yeah,
it's probably pretty good. But that one gets them every time. Especially my 7-year-old.
That's nice.
You ever seen a commercial for broccoli? No, Dad, I haven't. There's a reason.
Wait, so I've never seen a commercial for a root beer product.
No, there's commercials for root beer.
I've never seen one.
Well, I'll have to send you one.
Well, there goes my joke. Yes.
Nobody's judging you for your root beer addiction. It's 10 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. When we get back, we're going to check in with Monica Page live from the White House North Lawn right here on Super Talk.
Well, good morning. It's 10 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. In Jolton, they're still working a crash scene on 24, the eastbound lanes before Whites Creek Pike. Watch it. It's blocking off the right shoulder and attracting a lot of attention. A prisoner exchange is giving hope that tensions are easing between Russia and Ukraine.
A major prisoner exchange between Russia and Ukraine expected to get underway in the coming hours. At least 1,000 people taken by both sides expected to be swapped. This is a major agreement. However, talks to end the war appear to be going nowhere as both sides continue to fire drones at each other.
ABC's Ian Pannell there. The search goes on for the 5 men still on the lam after a mass breakout from a New Orleans jail. It was a week ago today that happened. ABC's Jim Ryan says 5 of the escapees are back in custody.
Once back behind bars, the prisoners will have new charges of escape added to any charges they were facing before. Along with searching for the missing 5, police have arrested 4 people, including a jail maintenance worker, on charges of helping the inmates to either escape or to elude capture.
Extra patrols for police in Brentwood after a rash of home burglaries. A group of 4 people wearing masks and carrying backpacks caught on surveillance video. Police say they've been targeting the Witherspoon neighborhood. WSMV4's Holly Thompson.
The homes being targeted are near walking trails and wooded areas between 7:30 p.m. and 9 p.m. Police say the group approaches from the back of the homes before breaking windows or glass doors to get inside.
Call police if you see anything suspicious. And more now on that app that Chris is talking about. It's getting a lot of users, the Yucca app. It's a favorite of RFK Jr. Here he is talking about it in April.
A number of other apps out there today. Like Yucca is one, but there are a number of others. I use Yucca, and my wife uses it in our home. Companies will develop apps in the private marketplace so that mothers can go in, they can scan a barcode of every product in their grocery store, and they can know what's in it and what's not.
Yeah, Yucca, Y-U-K-A. It lets users scan the barcodes of food products. It generates a score from 1 to 100 based on nutritional quality, the presence of additives, and whether or not that product is organic. If an item receives a poor or bad rating, Yucca recommends similar products with a better ranking. Well, stocks are trading lower today. The Dow is down 347. They began to tumble before the opening bell when President Trump began posting on social media this morning.
U.S. futures and global markets tumbled after Trump threatened the European Union and Apple with tariffs. Trump says he wants a straight 50% tariff on the European Union starting June 1st because trade talks are stuck. The president is also threatening a 25% import tax on Apple iPhones to encourage iPhones being made in the U.S.
That's ABC's Alex Prescia. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
It's 10:06 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. You can watch the show. We're live on Super Talk TV, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. Hit like, hit subscribe. We appreciate it when you do. And without further ado, back from her honeymoon, joining us live from the White House North Lawn, it's time for Behind the Fence with Monica Page. Monica, how are you?
How's it going, Chris? Thanks so much for having me. Am I tan? We just got back from Costa Rica.
Oh, man. I want to talk to you about what's been happening at the White House this week, but I think that's secondary. How was your wedding and how was your honeymoon?
Oh, it was fantastic. It was beautiful. It was such a beautiful day too, because the days leading up to the wedding was rainy, and then apparently we had rain here in DC for the entire week that I was in Costa Rica. So we just missed out on everything. Everything worked out perfectly, thank goodness.
That's awesome. I saw the pictures.
Yeah.
I was snooping on the Instagram and on the Twitter. You looked awesome. Congratulations.
Oh, thanks. Thank you so much.
And I saw that you got a gift that is probably going to be framed and hung in the home. Tell me about this gift that you received.
It's already in the frame.
Is
Chris.
it? I knew it. I knew it. I would have done it too. I'm not knocking it.
Yeah, I mean, we came back about a day or two later. I checked the mailbox and there was a big yellow envelope from the White House. And I was like, what the hell could this be? So I opened it and I said, there's no way that President Trump signed. It's not auto pen, it's an actual signature in Sharpie. Yeah, it's the authentic, it's no auto pen here. So it was just a beautiful letter and saying that we represent the best of our nation and may God always be in the center of your marriage. And it was just such a beautiful letter and so thoughtful too. But yeah, definitely going to be in the frame for years to come. Maybe a fireproof frame. God forbid something happens.
Oh,
to me.
that's a good idea. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Save the note from Trump. Forget the family photos. Save the note from Trump.
Yes.
So now you're back at the White House, and you're not skipping a beat. You got craziness happening all week long. Let's start with the South African president, Cyril Ramaphosa. What was the mood of the White House once they turned those lights down and wheeled in the TV?
Yeah, I mean, we saw the TVs kind of getting wheeled into the Oval Office just minutes before the arrival of Cyril Ramaphosa, and we were questioning what that could even be for, because we had never seen that before. But this was definitely the most awkward meeting aside from Ukrainian President Zelensky's meeting with President Trump. It was interesting. I mean, many people are calling this kind of like a soft ambush with this South African president, kind of saying, hey, this is what's been going on in your region. You're going to say you don't know what I'm talking about? Okay, I'm going to bring out the articles. I'm going to bring out the receipts, and we're going to roll the footage. And he kind of sat there, he said, oh, I denounced this. I don't like any of this. This is happening, but I don't agree with what's happening. But these are South African government officials chanting these, death to the white farmer, and there's crosses on farmland marking the deaths of these white farmers. So to say that you don't know or you weren't aware, it's kind of makes you question, are you really telling the truth here? Right. Especially when you're in the president's house, sitting face to face with him. I mean, not much gets by that man. So it was kind of an awkward meeting. The South African president left, and I'm assuming that all was good. But to see some of those reporters also trying to deflect in some of those questions, they just showed the video, and NBC's Peter Alexander is saying, oh, what about that plane that the Qatari government gifted you? What does that have to do with anything? So very interesting dynamic between the media, the South African president, and the president himself there. But I'm assuming more is to come when it comes to how South Africa goes moving forward as far as this issue and as far as trade as well.
Yeah, and the media didn't stop either. I mean, yesterday in the White House press briefing, you had fake news NBC versus Carolyn Levitt when it came to the crosses that marked the deaths of the white farmers in South Africa. What was the vibe like in the room when those two started going back and forth?
Kind of feels like you're in the twilight zone, Chris, because when you're hearing from the NBC reporter, she's clearly living in a totally different reality than everybody else. I mean, we saw firsthand the articles, the footage, the images that also came from Reuters and AP. So to sit there and say, oh, this isn't accurate information, there's no base, these are baseless claims. It's kind of makes you wonder, what kind of world are they living in? Are they trying to actually give you the wrong information, or do they actually not believe the own information that is their reality? Why are you continuing to deny reality? And that's the same kind of theme that we saw in the previous administration. Prices are coming down. The border is closed. This isn't happening. So this clearly this reporter is still living in those times. But
Yep.
I'm glad the American people can see right through that.
Yeah, everybody sees right through it. But it's crazy that the media continues to push this as unsubstantiated claims. It's like
Right.
we had a video and news articles that you're welcome to look at.
Especially from AP and Reuters too. I mean, are those fake too? Like, where are you getting your information? A simple Google search will show that these claims aren't unsubstantiated. It's clearly happening. You've talked to somebody in South Africa who's been witnessing this firsthand. Even Elon Musk. Elon Musk was in the room when the South African president was there, South African born, by the way.
Yep.
And he was saying, hey, he's been a staunch critic of Cyril Ramaphosa. So he knows firsthand as well. This is what's actually happening.
Yeah, he was staring daggers through Cyril Ramaphosa too. It was a bit uncomfortable to watch, but I enjoyed every minute of it at the exact same time. There's been some controversy around Pete Hegseth and a prayer service that he had at the Pentagon. What do you know about that, and what are you hearing on the ground?
Oh, that's interesting. To be quite honest with you, I have not been in the Pentagon space at all. I have just been here at the White House, focused on what's happening here. I am not well versed on what's happening
Oh, no
with
worries.
that prayer service,
No
to be
worries.
quite honest with you. But I can tell you about the big, beautiful bill. I can tell you about the
Yeah.
executive order today. I can tell you about gas prices, the lowest gas prices in 4 years. Harvard's defunding. Make America healthy again.
Yeah, let's start.
I
Let's
can
start
tell
with the MAHA Commission. Were you at the MAHA Commission event yesterday?
I was among some of the MAHA, doctors, the holistic medicine kind of experts here on the White House grounds who were in that event. And they were saying, this is groundbreaking information that this commission report has found. I mean, there have been chemicals in the food for decades. And what this report that has really been finding and digging into are childhood chronic diseases. Why are our children experiencing all of these issues years down the road, or even sometimes after birth, after certain kinds of vaccines as well?
Yep.
Diabetes, obesity, autoimmune issues, behavioral issues, all of these are serious issues that I'm so glad this administration is finally addressing. I mean, according to reports, there's 70% of food consumed by children are ultra processed, and ultra processed foods are some of the worst foods you could ever consume. Your meats, your ultra processed and overly, cleansed with pesticides and on the farms. All that food is getting into our children's systems, causing all of these problems years down the line. 40% of nearly 73 million kids have at least one chronic health problem. And I think that this is finally good that we are addressing this and making headways into possibly preventing this down the line.
Yeah, and we're looking forward to seeing what they come up with in 60 to 100 days as far as what can fix that. Where are we at on the big, beautiful bill? I know it's passed the House. It's on to the Senate. What are you hearing on the ground?
Yeah, I mean, 215 to 214, finally getting this big, beautiful bill passed. I know President Trump has been meeting with GOP lawmakers this entire past week, trying to get this bill passed, where many people are very excited about this passage. It's no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, tax reliefs for seniors, $175 billion towards border security and the border wall, reinstating President Trump's 2017 tax cuts. And also what I find is interesting is that it's cutting funding from these nonprofit clinics that promote family planning care and promote medical care, but also perform abortions as well, and have taken about $1 million in taxpayer funds. Now, without naming names, that's pretty much describing clinics like Planned Parenthood, for example, who have taken $800 million in taxpayer funding from 2023 to 2024 and carried out more than 400,000 abortions in that time period as well. So, long story short, Planned Parenthood and clinics like those are going to be defunded moving forward. So that's always a sign of hope too.
And the left always hides everything in the language, right? Oh, it's family planning, but in reality, you're planning not to have a family and figuring that out. And no, my tax dollars shouldn't be going to that. I did hear you talking to Tom Homan the other day about the money for the border inside that big, beautiful bill. What's Tom feeling about that kind of money coming his way?
You can kind of feel that he's relieved and thrilled all at the same time. I mean, we needed more border wall construction, because not only in the previous administration did Joe Biden halt border wall construction, but also we're selling excess parts of the border wall for basically pennies on the dollar. So now that we get this going back up again, it's also not only the wall, but the technology needed at the southern border to help, prevent these gotaways, to help ICE agents do their job, to help keep these illegal aliens in the detention centers. So that's going to be more beds. I know Tom Homan wanted about 100,000 more beds. They only have 50,000 at the moment. So this is going to help really keep them where they need to be in order to go through the process and the motions to either get deported or to make their way into the country the legal way. So we know that Tom Homan is excited about this passage, and a lot of people should be, especially if you're a border state. But of course, as we know, every state has become a border state.
Yep.
I also want to mention some misinformation going on about the BBB, and that's Medicaid cutting, because there are a lot of people that are saying, hey, Medicaid's going to be cut, but President Trump has made it clear we're not touching it. It's only going to be 3 words: cutting waste, fraud, and abuse in the Medicare system. And states like California and New York have been abusing the Medicaid system for years. Illegal aliens, freeloaders, basically taking taxpayer dollars and abusing it. So to see President Trump saying, hey, we're not touching Medicaid, but we're going to cut all of the crap that's been happening with Medicaid and people taking advantage of the system, we're finally cracking down on that, and people can trust that their taxpayer dollars are going to be used for good and not being taken advantage of.
Yeah, I'm here for it. I don't think that we should be paying for illegal aliens or able-bodied Americans that can work. You should get out there and do it. There used to be a time in this country where people didn't want a handout. It was looked upon as like a negative thing. And now that seems to just have gone by the wayside. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Is it realistic that the big, beautiful bill gets through the Senate?
I think so. I think it might be a little bit of a hurdle, but I do have hope that this could definitely get passed. Believe there's a July 4th deadline for that, so we'll definitely be keeping our eyes open for something like that to happen in the next coming weeks.
What are you hearing about Republicans who are saying that there's not enough cuts inside the big, beautiful bill?
Well, Republicans, you can't always get what you want. You know what I mean? You got to do the best you can and just accept what President Trump is trying to push through. This is President Trump endorsed. Get in line. I know President Trump has really been trying to whip some of these Republicans into shape, changing those nay votes to yay votes. So hopefully he can kind of do the same for the Senate as well. But I don't believe that there will be a lot of issues when it comes to something like this. But like we said, July 4th, all eyes will be on that day. I know, however, the Senate works. I'm sure it's going to be a last minute thing, as these things always are. But hopefully it comes sooner than later.
Yeah, we're talking with Monica Page. She is the White House reporter for Turning Point USA and Frontlines. She's one of the best. Just got married. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
I saw that while you were on your honeymoon, the Take It Down Act got signed into law, and that was pretty exciting. This is a story that you said wasn't being paid enough attention to. So I saw it, and I was like, man, that's a good wedding gift for Monica. What are your thoughts on the Take It Down Act?
Yeah, totally monumental. I actually got to speak one-on-one with Elliston Berry, who was the victim and kind of the brains behind this great bill, where she, at 14 years old, was a victim of a classmate who took a photo of her, ran it through an AI app that removed her clothes and sent it around via Snapchat to a bunch of other classmates. And when she brought it to the school's attention, the school really didn't do anything about it, which I find to be so surprising and really disheartening and discouraging. So she said, you know what, I'm going to take it to the next level. I'm going to go to my senator, Ted Cruz. And to which Ted Cruz took this bill, or took the situation, and put it on the president's desk and said, we have to do something about this. Because honestly, Chris, AI is only going to get more and more advanced over the years. And, who knows what AI will be capable of. So this is going to say, hey, if you are an online platform or perpetrator, you will be fined, perhaps jailed, depending on if the victim is a minor or an adult. And you have 48 hours to take it down. Once this is brought to your attention, if you don't, you're going to be, put into prison, jail time, fines, whatever the penalties may be for that. But definitely a sign of hope moving forward, especially for our young kids that are always on social media. And, and you never know what could happen nowadays.
Yeah, exactly. Again, we're talking with Monica Page. There is an executive order that's going to be signed today, if I recall correctly. What do you know about that?
Yeah, so this is going to be, according to CNBC, something that involves nuclear constructions and speeding up the construction of nuclear reactors and securing these key materials in these nuclear constructions. So this executive order actually could instate the Defense Production Act to kind of declare a national emergency when it comes to our energy, because we have been relying or depending on countries like Russia and China for enriched uranium, nuclear fuel processing systems for inputs, reactors, even taking a look at specific sites where we could perhaps build more nuclear reactors and nuclear energy sites. So there will definitely be more to come. That's coming around 3 p.m. Eastern time or 1 p.m. Eastern time, around that time, if the president is not having too much on his schedule today. But we can definitely expect that this afternoon to be signed in, and we'll see what else this includes, because I'm sure this is just the tip of the iceberg as far as our energy.
Yeah, I mean, it does seem like Trump keeps his schedule pretty packed. And I was watching, I was watching you on Twitter. It's a little bit different than the Biden White House, isn't it?
Oh my gosh, I was going down memory lane, Chris, where I was covering the Biden White House, and I was saying, I can't believe a random Tuesday, April 2nd, the White House called a lid at 10:20 a.m. It was crazy, and to see really the media here at the White House not really being able to keep up with what the president's doing. Is something always happening? It's a night and day difference, and obviously this is the daytime, and the previous administration was the nighttime. But that was the reality. I mean, you had the president leaving for vacations, week-long vacations, 577 days out of more than 1,400 days in office where he took vacations, and
Crazy.
that's about 39% of his presidency spent outside in Delaware somewhere on Rehoboth Beach. But this is definitely very refreshing to see, and to see some actual change and progress happening behind those White House doors.
Yeah, and Biden's cognitive decline has been a big topic of conversation, obviously, with the cancer diagnosis as well. Are members of the media, are they really what they're putting out there? Like, we had no idea. Nobody told us. The White House is covering up. Or behind the scenes, are those leftist propagandists just open and like, yeah, we all knew?
Part of them, like Jake Tapper, says, oh yeah, we knew about this, but we just couldn't believe it was happening there. Like, again, baseless claims that Joe Biden was facing a cognitive decline. But if you're an average American person or somebody who has had a family member going through a cognitive decline, you can see all the signs were right there this entire time. And what's interesting is that I don't know how these mainstream media or legacy media members will come back from this crisis, because this is clearly a misinformation crisis. This was clearly a cover-up scheme from some of these reporters, and it's a credibility crisis as well. How do you report on anything anymore when you just blatantly lied to the American people, telling them not to believe their own eyes? Where do you go from here? So I think now, especially now, we're going to see basically what I think will be a tectonic shift in media consumption. They'll stray from these outlets like NBC, CNN that hid this for years, and start moving towards outlets like ours, where we've been saying this for years, and reporting on this and covering it and being honest about to the American people. This is a little strange. We should be encouraging our viewers to be questioning everything, and I think that's really important.
Yeah, I do too. Monica Page, she's the White House reporter for Turning Point USA and Frontlines. Anything we missed? We got about 30 seconds left. Is there anything that you wanted to make sure that we got on the air to the American people?
Gas prices are at a 4-year low this Memorial Day weekend. They're on average $3.17. Some areas you're seeing $3.03. You can thank President Trump for your low gas prices this Memorial Day weekend.
Is the White House doing anything special for Memorial Day?
Yes, there's a wreath-laying ceremony, I believe, this weekend where President Trump will be participating at Arlington National Cemetery, and he's also delivering military graduation remarks at West Point tomorrow afternoon. So, President, even though it is technically a holiday weekend, he's still very busy and honoring our troops and service members as well.
I love it, and he's not calling a lid at 10 a.m.
No, absolutely not. And I remember Kamala Harris. Remember when she said, "Enjoy the long weekend"?
Yep.
We're not going to be hearing that from President Trump this weekend.
No, we will not. Monica, where can we keep up with you online?
Thanks so much, Chris. You can find me on X at Monica Page TV and on Instagram at Monica Page TV as well. Always a pleasure to join you guys.
Hey, likewise. I always appreciate the time. Congratulations again on the wedding. You looked fantastic.
Thank you.
It was awesome to see those pictures online. Congratulations. And we'll talk to you next week. Monica Page on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand for my friends at United Structural Systems. It looks dry today, but we got more rain on the way. And when it comes to these home repairs, especially the waterproofing, it's easy to ignore the warning signs. I mean, what's a little water in the basement between friends? Well, it's a little puddle in the crawl space. Damp walls, it'll dry. The truth is, these small problems are never going to stay small. They're not going to go away on their own. And if you don't fix them immediately, they're only going to get worse. And that waterproofing issue in your basement and in your crawl space can lead to mold in your home. You don't want your family breathing that. It can lead to wood rot, which will lead to foundation issues. Don't let the problem get worse. Call USS today. USS has helped over 30,000 homeowners across Middle Tennessee, and they can help you as well. And they're not going to send a sales guy to your house who's worried about his quota. No, they're going to send an expert who's worried about your foundation and your crawl space and your basement and your waterproofing. That's the difference with USS. And whether it's foundation repair or waterproofing, USS will stand behind their work with warranties you can trust. Locally owned, 30 years in the game. There's nobody else to call if you see the warning signs. Don't wait. Call USS today. 615-488-7855. That's 615-488-7855. Online, USSTN.com.
They're swapping prisoners between Ukraine and Russia, but could it lead to peace? And a local PTO mom arrested for stealing from the group's funds. That and more coming up at 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Joan Jones in the newsroom. It is 10:29 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Thank you again to Monica Page for jumping in on the show. She's awesome. I love Monica. She joins us every Friday, 10:05, to give us an inside view from the White House. So it's always fantastic having her on the show. That's at Monica Page TV, Paige. Monica Page TV, if you want to follow Monica.
Yeah, every Friday, every other Thursday, on a Wednesday.
Every Friday until it's not. Did you see somebody texted us?
I saw that. That's what made me comment.
Somebody texted us and they said, because we scheduled this to be like every Friday, and then it was like, oh, the second one she was on her bachelorette party, and then it was like, oh, the third one was Good Friday, and then the fourth one she was off for her wedding. So somebody said, why are you guys doing a Thursday hit on Friday?
You got us there.
I get it. I think we're. Listen, I think we're locked in for the foreseeable future for Fridays at 10:05 with Monica Page.
Yeah, but thanks for keeping us humble. 48,888.
Yeah, we appreciate it. A lot more to talk about on the way. At 11:05, Bo Diddle, Gabe, they're going to be coming in to talk about the months that they have ahead These guys have they're going to be racking up air miles, visiting Pride festivals all over the country. We'll talk about that. Plus, I have that audio. I'd mentioned it to Monica. She hadn't heard this audio yet, and so I digress. But there's audio going around of Pete Hegseth. Apparently, he's catching a lot of heat for holding a prayer service at the Pentagon. And Pete said, well, if you have a problem with that, piss off, essentially. I'm going to bring that to you when we get back. It's 10:31 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It's 10:30. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. There's a sign of progress in the Ukraine-Russia war. A major prisoner swap between the warring factions began early this morning. About 1,000 prisoners on each side. President Trump has congratulated them on Truth Social, suggesting the swap could lead, in his words, to something big. Security is tighter around the country today after the murders of 2 Israeli embassy workers in D.C. Here's ABC's Phil Tate.
The NYPD isn't taking any chances bolstering up security at Jewish institutions, including right here outside of the consulate. Now, while there are no credible threats, according to the department, we'll see the high visibility of patrols, heavy weapons teams, and counterterrorism officers. These precautions will last through the weekend, aiming to protect the largest Jewish population outside of Israel.
Harvard University filing a federal lawsuit. It challenges the Trump administration's decision to not allow the school to admit any foreign students.
Harvard says with the stroke of a pen, the administration has sought to erase a quarter of its student body. The university says the action amounts to a blatant violation of the First and Fifth Amendments and is just the latest example of retaliation against the school for its refusal to allow the administration to control it. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem says Harvard has fostered anti-Semitism and coordinated with communist China. Noem says the administration's move should, quote, serve as a warning to all academic institutions.
ABC's Stephen Portnoy. A grand jury indicting the former president of Laverne Lake Elementary School's parent-teacher organization, Valency Horton, charged with stealing over $13,000 in PTO funds, transferring that money into her personal Cash App account. The indictment says that Horton used the money to make personal purchases and pay off debt. And in one instance, according to a press release, Horton withdrew money from the account from an ATM located inside of a casino. That is the latest news. Weather's up next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
1037 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. So we talked about a couple things with Monica Page that I definitely want to recover. The first being Pete Hegseth and the announcement that he's going to host a monthly Christian prayer service at the Pentagon. To me, I'm like, that's awesome. Huge, clutch, love it. To the leftists in the media, this is dastardly and downright a violation of the separation of church and state. CNN wrote a hit piece on this. And I don't know. Can you put that on the screen real quick? Before we get into the hit piece, it's just so you know, this is how my brain works. I'm a weirdo. I look at this, and they always put like how long of a read it's going to be. Okay. They said this article is a 5-minute read. Then I would ask CNN, why did you need two authors? Like, why does it take two people to write this article? A hit piece against Pete Hegseth. I'm sure that ChatGPT could do it just as well. Like, I could probably look over at ChatGPT right now and be like, write me an article on why it's bad Pete Hegseth would be writing or hosting a Christian prayer service. It would probably be pretty similar to this article that needs two people to be paid over at CNN to write. But they say Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth hosted a Christian prayer service on Wednesday at the Pentagon for employees that included a sermon by his hometown pastor, Tennessee pastor, by the way, who said President Trump had been sovereignly appointed. The service, which Hegseth told the audience would be a monthly event, was held in the Pentagon Auditorium and broadcast live on the department's internal TV network. Current and former defense officials told CNN it was highly unusual for the secretary to host a religious event during the workday for a particular religion. This is precisely where I need to be, exactly where we need to be as a nation at this moment in prayer, on bended knee, recognizing the providence of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, Hegseth said in opening remarks. This is something we plan to do on a monthly basis, on a voluntary basis here in the auditorium, and I'll hope that you let those who work with you know about it. Now, a lot of people are upset because they say that he shouldn't be doing this. There's a lot of anti-Christian bias among the left. If it was a Muslim prayer service, I'm sure that they would have no issue with it whatsoever. But it's Christian, so it's obviously going to be an issue. Now, Pete Hegseth was asked about this yesterday. I don't know where he was coming to or going from, going to, whatever you say. But he was asked about it by a reporter, and it was on the tarmac outside Air Force One. And this is his response to the prayer service that he hosted.
The question is, I've gotten some criticism for hosting a Christian prayer service at the Pentagon yesterday. We said it very publicly. We said it very proudly. Appealing to heaven, to God, is a long-standing tradition in our military. I'm very proud that we're starting a monthly voluntary service at the Pentagon. George Washington was on bended knee with the troops, praying for God's providence and protection in that moment. Chaplains and ministers and Christians and people of faith across generations have prayed because of the business that we're in. I mean, the business of the 82nd Airborne, and you watch that 911 button for the country, is a dangerous one on behalf of all of us. And we appeal to God. I appeal to Jesus Christ for that protection. And we're going to speak that word and be open and willing to talk about that at the Pentagon. If they want to criticize that, they're on the wrong side of a very important issue. So,
amen. Thank you, Pete Hegseth, for leading with your faith in the public square. We need more leaders like this. And in that job, that role, yes, believing in something higher than yourself is absolutely a good thing. I'm glad he's doing it. It's voluntary. Nobody's forced to go. Yet the left is very upset about this. Very upset. Well, I think Hegseth is he's a hero for hosting that. Honestly, we need more of that. We need a lot more of that. We can talk about how great it is to have Donald Trump in the office. That's what's going to save our country, right there. Bringing back Jesus to the forefront. Truly believe it. Maybe you differ in opinion. That's okay. You can be wrong. Sorry. That's just me. But Hegseth, clutch, man. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. God bless them, and God bless everybody at the Pentagon that is going to those prayer services. The other thing that we talked about with Monica Page that I wanted to play you the audio for, there was an NBC reporter yesterday at the press briefing. Yamiche, is that how you say it? Yamiche? Yamiche. You know how good I am at pronouncing things. This NBC reporter was very upset that Donald Trump was pushing unsubstantiated claims inside the Oval Office when he played a video corroborating those unsubstantiated claims for the South African president, Cyril Ramaphosa. He also brought news articles when it came to those unsubstantiated claims for the South African president, Cyril Ramaphosa. NBC News, they weren't exactly happy about it. So there's a reporter there by the name of, what's her name? Yamiche Alcindor. Yamiche Alcindor. Or it could be Yamiche Alcindor. I don't know what her name is. I don't really care what her name is, to be perfectly honest with you. But this exchange with Carolyn Levitt was one for the ages.
The president showed a video that he said showed more than 1,000 burial sites of white South Africans that he said were murdered. We know that that was not true and that the video wasn't showing that. So I wonder, why did the president choose to show that? What's not true, Yamiche? It's not.
We know that that's not true. Well, that's interesting. What's not true, Yamiche, says Carolyn Levitt. What about what the president showed and said was not true?
The video was showing a burial site. It is unsubstantiated that that's the case.
No, it is true that that video showed the crosses that represent
what the president claimed.
So she's trying to get her in a technicality. The president said it was a burial site, but it wasn't a burial site. No, that's correct. It was representative of every white farmer who had been murdered and their land stolen in South Africa. You are correct. They're not burying the white farmers on the side of the highway. Good job. I mean, way to stay on top of it. But that's not the point. You understand?
The video showed images of crosses in South Africa about white farmers who have been killed and politically persecuted because of the color of their skin. And those crosses are representing their lives. Those crosses are representing their lives in the fact that they are now dead. In their
But ma'am, the president said that it was a burial site. So obviously, Orange Man bad, and he's lying again, right? This is how they do it. This is how they twist and manipulate the language and the narrative. And you don't hate the media enough.
Their government did nothing about it. Are you disputing that there's no...
The fact that the video showed what the president claimed it showed, because it did not show that. But even more, what I'm asking you is who at the White House...
No, it did show that. It showed white crosses representing people who have perished because of racial persecution.
Verifies the videos that the president shows, and what protocols are in place when there's unsubstantiated information being put out for the world and world leaders to show?
Yamiche, what's unsubstantiated about the video? The video shows crosses that represent the dead bodies of people who were racially persecuted by their government. In fact, the Associated Press, of all places, has a picture of that very monument, and the caption from the Associated Press is, "Each cross marks a white farmer who has been killed in a farm murder." So it is substantiated, not just by that video and the physical evidence that everybody saw on display in the Oval Office, but also by another outlet in this room, the Associated Press. So you should take it up with them if you believe the claim is unsubstantiated, and that's a ridiculous line of questioning.
Oh, I love it. She's doing great, Carolyn Levitt is, isn't she? She's just fantastic. She's just as good as Huckabee Sanders or as Carolyn Levitt. Just as good. But I love how she brings up the AP. Hey, by the way, the AP, who hates us because we decided to change the name of Gulf of Mexico to Gulf of America, and they refused to call it that. We had to kick them out because of it. The AP confirmed what those crosses were. So if you have an issue with it, why don't you take it up with the AP? Carolyn Levitt, an absolute gem. There were some other moments during that press conference yesterday that were pretty based. Peter Doocy asked about the cognitive decline of Joe Biden and the staff that covered it up. This exchange was a good one.
And President Trump says that he basically thinks unelected Biden staffers concealed his decline so that they could use the levers of power for their own personal gain.
Well, Look, that's not just the president thinking that, Peter. There's a new book out. I don't know if any of you have heard about it. Again, a little bit too late because the American people knew the truth on this from the very beginning. And there were reporters in this room, including some from your network, Peter. I'll give you a little bit of credit here, who have said that clearly Joe Biden's staffers were engaging in this cover-up. So this is common sense. This isn't the president making it up. These are facts that are now finally being revealed.
Yeah, and Donald Trump called it treason to the highest order, the individuals that let the border be open. It was a wild Truth Social post from President Trump, in case you missed it, where he actually defended Joe Biden, and that's not on my bingo card for 2025, yet here we are. And he said Joe wasn't for open borders. Joe wasn't for any of this radical leftist garbage. It was the people that were pulling the strings behind the scenes because they knew he was in severe cognitive decline and they could get away with anything. Anything. When we were talking to Monica Page, you can go to her Twitter account at Monica Page TV. She's posting screenshots of the emails that she would get from the Biden administration and be like, 10:05, we have this. 10:15, close to press. And it's like, what, you gave press a 15-minute window to talk about things. But that was the staff hiding Biden from the public, without a doubt. They knew exactly what was going on behind the scenes. They probably knew he had cancer too, but they kept it quiet because they could manipulate everything behind the scenes and do what they wanted, these radical leftists. And I know that we're going to get some investigations. James Comer is going to subpoena the White House doctor. They're going to call in staffers for interviews and investigating what happened behind the scenes at the Biden White House. And I'll be looking forward to those results very, very much so. But we know what the results are going to be. The answer is yes, they were covering up the cognitive decline. Yes, they were doing it so that way they could have more power behind the scenes. Yes. Like we know what time it is. But we're going to have it in black and white ink for everybody who says that we are crazy conspiracy theorists, because that's what they do. We'll tell them something, and then they'll say, you're insane, you're a conspiracy theorist, and then 6 months will go by and we'll be proven right. It's a tale as old as time. Yet here we are, doing it once again. It's 10:50 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. On the way, my friend Bo Diddle is going to be in studio. He's got a big month coming up. It's one of his favorite months of the year, actually. Pride Month. It really is.
Knowing him, I believe it.
We were talking, and Bo's insane, just like in a loving kind of way. This is one of my favorite things about him. But he said we were going back and forth in the chat, and he's like, do you think Turning Point USA would pay for me to be on a gay cruise for content? And I was like, I'm not exactly sure. I could ask somebody. He's like, I think it would be good content. I'm like, okay. I don't know why you'd want to put yourself in the line of fire yet. Here we are. Bo is going to definitely be putting himself in the line of fire all June long. We'll talk about what he has planned for Pride Month and how you go about gathering content at events like that. It's going to be an interesting conversation. Looking forward to it. It's 10:51. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, drivers, we have rolling roadblocks to fix potholes. That's I-40 eastbound at McCrory Lane over by Pegram. And then by the airport, got a truck fire. Right entrance lane is blocked, 40 eastbound at Donaldson Pike. President Trump threatening Apple with tariffs unless they make iPhones here. And a judge is blocking the Trump administration revocation of Harvard's ability to enroll foreign students. These stories and more at 11 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Ken Weaver in the newsroom. My name is Chris Hand. I'm joined in studio by Bo Diddle. And when you mentioned the truck on fire, Bo perked up and he said, I saw that.
Glad you made it out of that traffic jam there, Brother Bo.
Hit the red button.
Oh, I clicked off. Sorry. Yes, I passed that. I passed that on the interstate.
And you thought the truck was going to explode?
Yes, because it was just the top of it was on fire. It hadn't hit the engine or anything like that yet. And so I was just hoping that it didn't expand.
That's crazy.
There wasn't even a fire truck there when I got there.
Really?
Yeah, it was just on fire.
It's a nasty backup right now. Both directions.
Man.
Of 40.
That's crazy. You've been busy.
Been very busy.
Where have you been since the last time we spoke?
Long Beach. So, California.
California.
It's crazy. California, it's like you can see the beauty of California. You see the potential it has, but then you just see how it's ruined.
Yeah.
Masked people everywhere.
Still?
Yes. The prices are insane. The signs, it's, love is everywhere. Love is welcomed here. And people are just silent. It's all foreigners. It's just, there's so much potential in California. It could be so beautiful, but it's ruined.
Yeah, it's hard to see the potential past the human poop in the streets.
I didn't pass that.
You didn't pass any human poop?
That's more like San Francisco.
Yeah.
Which I'll be later this month or next month.
Yeah, because so next month you're going on the Pride tour.
Yes, I will be touring. That sounds so weird to say. Touring the country, following the gays.
I don't know. How do you put yourself in a mindset to go and cover those kind of events?
You just got to put yourself in a different type of atmosphere. I don't even know how to describe it. But
because you're essentially you're giving yourself a lot of trauma.
I am giving myself a lot of trauma. I don't even I think back and I'm like, what got me doing Pride more than any other type of content? And I think it just comes down to the content of their character and the way that they act. My content there is better than any other protest. And it's so weird to think that, but I just going to Pride parades, they just exposing the way that they act. People enjoy watching that more than any other type of content for me.
Well, and I saw one Frontlines video because I know you do work with them, and it was a protest, and I think it was you, but it was men dressed up as dogs whipping each other in front of children.
Yeah, that was in Long Beach this past weekend,
but that's totally fine.
In California,
that's family friendly.
Yeah, family friendly in California. So it's very weird. I'm trying to paint the picture for you. But essentially think of it of a large parade with different sections of the parade. So you would have the chorus, you would have the gay church, you would have the cheerleading team, and then you would have the furries. So, think about them in different sections. And at the very end of the parade, I'm pretty sure it was the furries.
The furries were the caboose?
Yeah, the caboose. And they were the ones with the whip. I guess they didn't want them in the middle, so they didn't hurt anyone, which they hurt my eyes. But anyways, at the very back, they were just whipping the ground. And it was funny because they were hate to say it, but they were the best content. So I was around them the most. And that dude just kept whipping for about an hour straight. And I was like, we get it. Like, you know how to whip. You don't have to keep whipping the ground the way that you're doing. But he just kept doing it. Which whip, 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 and bare cheeks are out. And yeah.
Cheeky.
Very different topic, please.
All right. We'll talk a little bit more about the Pride World Tour that you're going on here in the next month and how you mentally prepare for it when we get back. It's 11 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It's 11 o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Checking traffic again. That truck fire blocking the right entrance lane, 40 eastbound at Donaldson Pike. That's going to be exit 216B. They're going eastbound by the airport. Full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. President Trump moving markets by threatening more tariffs. U.S. futures, global markets tumbled after Trump threatened the European Union and Apple with tariffs. Trump says he wants a straight 50% tariff on the European Union starting June 1st because trade talks are stuck. And he's threatening a 25% import tax on Apple unless iPhones are made in the U.S. Here's ABC News senior White House correspondent Selena Wang.
President Trump today also threatening to impose 25% tariffs on Apple, specifically targeting this company. This comes after President Trump had paused tariffs on certain tech products that are from China, which was major relief for tech companies like Apple and other companies. But the president now going after Apple, saying that he wants the iPhone completely built, manufactured in the United States. Now, analysts estimate that would add much more costs to the Apple iPhone.
Murder charges have been filed against the man arrested after the deadly shooting of 2 people in Washington, D.C. The suspect shouting "Free Palestine" after the killings.
Overnight, hundreds gathered outside the White House for a vigil, honoring the 2 Israeli embassy employees who were shot and killed. On Wednesday night, 30-year-old Yoron Lashinsky and his girlfriend, 26-year-old Sarah Milgram, had been attending a Jewish heritage event at the Capitol Jewish Museum. The couple, just days away from being engaged, was fatally wounded by a suspect who authorities say was fixated on the Israel-Hamas war.
As ABC's Nicole D'Antonio, the suspect, a 30-year-old man from Chicago known to police there for protesting outside the home of a former mayor. Investigators in San Diego digging through a huge debris field looking for signs of what caused that small plane to crash into a neighborhood just before landing. ABC's Trevor Alt's on the scene outside of the homes hit by the plane.
Plane ripping open this home, several others catching fire. Gilbert Gonzalez hoisting a ladder over the fence of the family next door to help them get to safety.
Climb the ladder, climb the ladder. There was a kid getting brought over the fence. It was handed down to me. I said, give me the kid. And then a second kid came down, so I'm holding 2 kids.
Jet fuel igniting along the street, cars exploding.
As of Friday morning, there are 2 confirmed fatalities. Rising country music star Gavin Adcock has been arrested for reckless driving and having an open container of alcohol in his vehicle. He was pulled over by Tennessee Highway Patrol on I-40 around 4:30 yesterday morning. Adcock posted a $1,000 bond, was released from jail yesterday. Recently, he passed 1 billion total streams on Spotify and sold out the Pinnacle on back-to-back nights. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
It's 11:06 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. I'm joined in studio by my friend Bo Diddle. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC. It is Super Water. BetterWater.com for your water filtration system. What's up, Bo?
What is going on?
You got a busy month ahead of you.
I do. Every single weekend.
Every single weekend, you're in a different city, covering a different Pride festival.
Yes, June is the big month. So every June, I'm like, and my birthday's in June too, which sucks because I can't enjoy it. So this year I'll be in DC for my birthday.
Yeah, I got a text here, 0095. Real heroes only get a day. Christmas, 4th of July, Memorial, Veterans Day, but Pride gets a whole month.
That is true.
It's insane.
How much power do you think we could bring to having a straight Pride month?
I don't know.
Like with the right people behind it, do you think we could actually maybe make a decent movement?
I don't think we could. I don't think people would. You know how Republicans are. We rarely protest anything, and then
that is true.
Then we got to go out there and celebrate straightness. I don't think anybody would sign up.
But maybe we could say, quote unquote, it's a month, but we just want you guys to be here for one day, and that could be our big day.
That could be the big day.
Yeah,
I like the idea.
It's a thought.
We're having a big event happening on June 17th. It's our mid-year review. Maybe I go to management and say, how about we change it to straight Pride?
That's a thought, but don't do June.
We gotta wait for another month.
Yeah, maybe like February.
Okay.
I say February because it's Valentine's Day. You got love.
All right, there you go. I like the logic.
Yeah, straight love.
So how do you set yourself for a mindset to go into a Pride festival and cover it? Like you know you're walking in there and you're going to see some things you don't want to see.
Yeah.
But then there's also like a fine line on covering this where it's like you can't go in and act like a bully and confrontational.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're creating strategy to go in and cover one of these events, what is your strategy?
So first off, lots of praying before. You got to clear your head. And I've switched my strategy from when I was doing YouTube on my own to now being with Turning Point. When I was doing it on my own, I was a lot more confrontational. One of my favorite moments ever was actually my hometown, Cookeville. They were having a Pride parade, and it was a big stage at the park they were doing it at. And it was just, God set me up for this. And I see just a wide open path to going on the stage. And there's little kids.
He parted the sea.
There's little kids right below the stage or right in front of the stage watching the drag queens. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to get on the stage. And so while the drag queen is performing, I get on the stage and I'm like, kids, look away. Kids, look away. It was so funny. But now being with Turning Point, I'm less confrontational and I'm more just trying to get their answers, more of the strategy of let them expose themselves instead of me doing the work for them. So in Long Beach this past weekend, I was having fake petitions, and you would be shocked of the amount of people that signed a petition to arrest people who disagreed with them.
Okay, so you show up and you say, I have a petition for you to sign.
Correct.
And then you explain the petition, and then the leftists just eat it hook, line, and sinker?
Yes, and a lot of it, too, is psychological. So Gabe, my cameraman, he actually told me, do another petition first, and the petition was about taxes and taxing the rich. And he was like, if you do that one first, that one's going to kind of sink them in because he's not a bad guy. You can't do the super heavy-hitting ones in the very beginning. You have to kind of start a little bit softer. So my first one was taxing billionaires 99%, which actually filled the entire page.
Insane.
I ran out of spots for people to even sign. And then the next one was, do you want to arrest people that disagree with you? And that one also got a lot of signatures.
So they're pro free speech for anybody except those that disagree with them.
Exactly. And Turning Point posted it, I think 2 days ago. I love the video. And I had the girl sign the petition, and she was like, yes, absolutely. And then she immediately, as she was signing it, followed up with saying, everyone should have freedom to do whatever they want. As she's signing a petition to arrest people that disagree with her. And maybe thankfully she didn't catch on, but I was definitely instigating when I was like, so you want freedom for everyone except for those who disagree with you. And she didn't catch on to, the way I worded that. And she was like, yes, absolutely.
That's hilarious.
Just mind-blowing.
What other petitions are you grabbing?
Arrest people who disagree with you. I have re-education camps for conservatives.
Obviously, that's a big hit.
Big hit.
Among
big hit.
the lefties.
People love that. And for some reason, they love the camp part of it. They're like, oh, yes, they need to be in a camp.
They have to be in a camp.
Which, is a historically a thin line you want to tread, but they don't care about treading that line. Taxing billionaires, tampons in boys' bathrooms and schools. That one was a big hit.
Insane.
There was a few more, but yeah.
So you're gonna be now heading off. What's your next big event? Is that the
next one is L.A.
That's the Dyke March.
The Dyke March.
That's their name, not ours.
Yeah, that is their name, and you have the Dyke March, and then you have the Women's Festival.
Okay, you would think that the two groups wouldn't get along.
You would think that, yeah, but it's going to be very weird going to each of them. I don't know what the difference is going to be necessarily. I don't know, I have a lot of questions. I can't even begin to explain it. But yeah, it's going to be a big one in LA. Supposedly over 1 million people are going to be there.
Jeez.
That's what I heard from other people in California from last weekend. But
is it getting harder for you to go into these arenas and not be recognized for who you are and what you're doing?
It depends on the state. California, I've only been to California, I think 3 times in my life, maybe 4 now. But that one, I've not been recognized. But if you take me to Knoxville, I can't even basically start to talk before people start shutting me down.
Really?
Yeah, Knoxville's rough. Cookville's rough. Nashville's very rough.
They just know exactly who you are and what you're about.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, keep me out of Tennessee.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. And you were in California just a few weeks ago, and you saw a parachuter fall out of the sky, right?
Oh, yeah.
Was that on the beach?
Yeah, that one was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's wild. Bo was at this event for Turning Point, but they had parachuters coming in, and
Turning Point knows how to do it.
They were coming in pretty fast, though.
You look up at the sky, and you just see people landing.
Yeah.
It was wild.
So after the Dyke March, where do you go?
What is it? Is it DC?
I think it's DC. I think it's DC.
Yeah, May 31st.
Do you expect more craziness in DC or in California?
Funny, that's a great topic. Me and Gabe were talking about that. We were trying to rank which ones we thought were going to be the craziest versus the least crazy. I think LA will be crazier than DC just because of the state.
Well, wasn't California the one where they had those guys that were like drinking pee?
Yeah, San Francisco.
Last year.
That's why I was mandatory. I got to be in San Francisco.
You gotta.
That's a must. That one should be crazy.
And these are all events that are classified as family friendly.
Yes. Important to mention. And there was in Long Beach this past weekend, they had a separate time for Teen Pride, and parents couldn't get in, so it doesn't matter.
Whoa. They had a separate time in Long Beach. They had a separate Teen Pride event.
Yes.
And parents couldn't get in.
It
sounds like you're just sending your kid off to be groomed then.
Essentially, yes. It was 13 to 17. So if you were...
And no parents allowed?
No parents allowed. You couldn't get in unless you were 13 to 17. That's direct from security.
I feel like you should almost have your children taken away from you if you're okay with that.
Yeah. And I was behind the fence because, of course, I couldn't get in. But I heard the... PA announcer, whatever you want to call him, saying, everyone get to the stage, our something drag festival is beginning, or not festival, but show is beginning. And I'm like,
13 to 17 year olds.
13 to 17, no one else.
That's creepy.
It is very creepy, but that's California.
That's stunning and brave in California.
You got to stay blue somehow, so.
Yeah, and it starts with indoctrinating the kids.
Yeah, they start them young.
That's crazy, man.
It is.
In D.C., what's your strategy there? Are you going to go more politics, or are you going to keep it culture?
Definitely keep it culture. D.C., by the numbers, should be crazier than L.A. because D.C. is actually called World Pride, where every gay person from the entire world...
They're all going to be in D.C.?
...is supposed to come to D.C. It's actually already started, I believe, and it's going all the way to June 8th, 9th, something like that. And it's just an entire month for the LGBT, and it's all in D.C. So if you have the money or the bandwidth to stay an entire month in D.C., you're supposed to be there.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's supposed to be the biggest pride gathering of all time.
And then you're going to be posting all this content on your pages, Diddle TV on X.
Yeah, Diddle TV on X, Bo Diddle, Instagram and YouTube, and then, of course, Turning Point USA on everywhere.
And how many views are these videos getting that you're putting out?
Oh, millions. I was looking at one from a few weeks ago, and it's at like 5 million now.
Jeez.
Yeah.
And what's the reaction from the public when they see this stuff?
It's all just like talking about the irony and the exposing of the LGBT, saying, like, how are you okay with this? People are waking up to it, at least if you have common sense. So everyone but those that live in California seem to think it's crazy.
We're talking with Bo Diddle, who is a content creator for Turning Point USA, and he's a reporter with Frontlines at Turning Point USA, and he's going on a big world tour around the country, visiting all of the best Pride festivals, and then you're rating and ranking them. Are you going to do a video at the end of this where you rate and rank the best ones?
I think I should, for sure. I have a feeling, though, San Francisco will be number one.
It's going to be nuts, dude. Everybody's just going to be naked and drinking pee.
Yeah. Essentially.
Around kids.
Let's just hope I don't catch anything.
Honestly. Do you have to, is it like when you go to visit Africa, you need to get like a bunch of shots beforehand?
Yeah.
Do you feel like the same way?
It's funny. I was actually offered a fentanyl testing. Like they wanted to test.
Fentanyl testing kit?
Yeah, like this random girl in the parade comes up to me and was like, do you need some fentanyl testing? And I was like, no.
Wouldn't you be insulted by that?
Yes.
I feel like that's an insulting question.
Is.
It's like, do I look like a fentanyl user?
Yeah. I got asked about that, and then I got asked for STDs and some gay STD thing, and they're like, "Do you need to be tested?" And I was like, "No,
don't have the monkeypox.
I don't.
Monkeypox is so weird.
Yeah.
Remember how it quickly disappeared from the news once they said it was sexually transmitted, and then some kids and a dog came down with it, and they're like, "Well, we're going to move on."
Yeah, as soon as it didn't fit the talking points, it got removed.
We're gonna move on from this one quickly. So you got a busy month ahead of you. We can keep up with you online. What are you looking forward to the most out of all this, or is this like a thing that you're going to begrudgingly do?
Oh no, I mean, you're going into a pride parade, so you don't want to do it, but at the same time, I know what's going to come of it. I know that the exposing that's going to come from it and the light it's going to shed. So, it's a net positive for our movement. So for that reason, I'm very excited because I really don't think anyone's doing it other than me. I'm really the only one that focuses on Pride content. So I'm excited to do it, but in a weird way.
It's like, should I be this excited?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. And I know Gabe couldn't make it today, but he's very excited.
Yeah, he's counting down. I think he's kind of in the movement, though.
Shout out to Gabe. Hey, man, we're looking forward to the content that we're going to see out of this, as awful and cringy as it may be. We're going to be keeping an eye on it. Where can we find your content one more time?
Bo Diddle with 2 T's on Instagram and YouTube, and Diddle TV on X.
That's Bo Diddle. He's doing this, going to Pride festivals, so you don't have to. You're doing a hero's work here.
But the caveat is you guys have to watch it. If I'm going to go in, you guys have to watch it.
Perfect. Hit like, hit subscribe, do all the things. Bo Diddle in studio. It is 11:20 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Another federal judge rules against the Trump administration. This story and more at 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. 11:24, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. Mason Fleming is producing. I'm going to be out of town next week. I'm going to the beach. But we're going to have a host of great fill-ins. We'll be doing best of. And you know what they said to me? They said, hey, we got to do best of for Monday. And then they were like, what's your best stuff? And I was like, oh, that's a tough sell. I don't know.
How long do you have?
It's a short list. I can tell you that much.
No.
Let's just repurpose today's show. I think is probably the easiest for everybody. No, I don't know. What do we do for a best of show?
Run your bumper music, dude.
Let's go.
Yeah, just play.
It's just going to be beats.
It's just you going in and out of segments.
With just your music. Sorry, this next one is Stay Scheming. And here we go. Just bump it.
I do have the best bumper music. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
People either love it or they hate it.
Mostly love it, though.
Mostly love it. So I'll be off next week. Mason will still be here. Mason's actually covering for me at the Glock Store open house.
Yeah,
right.
It's gonna be hype. I'm excited to go.
If you want to meet Mason, he's going to be out there with Murphy, and he's going to be out there with Murphy and KGB. And then that's going to be the squad. And a lot of people are wondering if I will be doing seashell formations while I'm at the beach.
If you find something interesting, definitely let us know.
I am going to be walking with my wife. Might be wearing a sweater. Might find a seashell formation.
Just say, camera ready.
If I do,
camera ready.
Just follow me on X at Chris Hand on Air, and if I find any interesting seashell formations, I'll be sure to post them here for you.
Yeah, I wonder if Dan will see any like dolphin formations as he's on his Disney cruise, just forming.
He is. He's going on a Disney cruise.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite.
You heard President Trump.
Yeah, Trump said something about it yesterday. It was great.
Yep. And he said something about it today as well. Listen, I just love that President Trump is wishing Mandis a great cruise because listen, he's the president for the people, right?
Yeah.
And he knows his supporters and he looks out for them. And Mandis is one of the biggest supporters.
I hope Mandis in the morning, I hope he enjoys his Disney cruise. Quite frankly, it's not a cruise I would go on. Too woke for me, obviously, but I hope he enjoys himself.
Yeah, I hope he does too.
He's saying, have a good trip, Dan. He's congratulating Monica on her wedding. Yeah. Like, he's just a good guy.
What a guy. I asked Dan if he was going to swim with the Dolphins this time. He said, I don't think so. He said, it's because we did a bit a couple weeks ago where I highlighted how the Dolphins tend to get a bit rapey.
Yeah.
And he said that actually has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, Dolphins rape people.
They do.
Man. It's weird.
At way too high of a level.
I'm just saying
it is exorbitantly higher than whatever animal comes in at number 2 as far as animals that rape humans.
It's really high, but we all seem to happen to go to the one place that dolphins are always.
I don't understand.
The ocean.
Yeah. Yeah, that's assault, brother.
Just saying, you never hear about it in the McDonald's in Hermitage, but as soon as you go to the ocean, whoa.
It really happens. It's really sad.
There's that. They'll
people have to go to therapy.
Yeah, it's a lot. Do you know dolphins will mess with pufferfish to get high?
What?
You know the toxins that prick you whenever you get stung by a pufferfish? They will purposely inflate it and then hit its stingers on their noses so they can get high.
What?
Isn't that nuts?
I didn't know pufferfish had stingers.
Yeah, it's like little pinpricks on the end. Like it's not anything crazy that will it hurts.
Interesting.
But it's they just bop it back and forth on their nose underwater.
So Mrs. Puff on SpongeBob SquarePants is a drug dealer.
Yeah.
Unintentionally.
I think the only suitable place for these dolphins is Sudan. Sudan or Seacot.
Send them to El Salvador.
These drug trafficking rapist dolphins.
And Mrs. Puff.
We can't be allowing them into the beautiful Gulf of America or any of our oceans.
Can't have this.
We have to get rid of them.
No trust.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. But yeah, they rape. They rape a lot.
Yeah.
It's just science. You do trust the science, don't you?
I'm just going to choose not to believe that. I like them too much.
Dude, Google it. There's a
I'm
lot.
not going to do it, Brother Chris.
There's a list of stories. I swear to you. Hold on, ready?
Oh, I'm scared. I'm scared.
News.
First tab.
All I did was Google dolphin rape. First story, August 27th, 2024. Lonely, sexually frustrated dolphins behind attacks on swimmers in Japan.
Oh, no. Maybe keep them on that side of the globe. Don't bring them over here.
Oh, my gosh.
The Telegraph. Dolphins resort to rape. They resort
to it.
It was the last resort.
Well, they held him at gunpoint and they wouldn't give him the money.
Here's one that doesn't have to do with dolphins of the ocean, but I can't help but read the headline. Despite student petition, New York Art College declines to remove dolphin rape cave photo.
What?
I don't know. We'll have to dig into that one a little bit more. It's 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
$11:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast in 5 minutes. Well, a judge is temporarily blocking the Trump administration from barring Harvard from enrolling international students because Harvard fails to protect Jewish students from pro-Hamas sympathizers and still uses DEI policies. Here's Helena Wang.
The federal judge blocking this move from the Trump administration. This is also getting reaction from around the world, with China saying that this move damages America's image and credibility on the world stage.
Obama nominated and confirmed U.S. District Judge Allison D. Burroughs granted the temporary restraining order, set a hearing for Tuesday morning. President Trump moving markets by threatening more tariffs. U.S. futures and global markets tumbled after Trump threatened the European Union and Apple with tariffs. Trump says he wants a straight 50% tariff on the European Union starting June 1st because trade talks are stuck. And he's threatening a 25% import tax on Apple unless iPhones are made in the U.S. King Charles headed to Canada next week with a clear message, according to ABC's Sherry Preston.
Canada is a member of the British Commonwealth and is a sovereign nation distinct from the United States. That's what King Charles wants to reiterate when he comes next week at the invite of Prime Minister Mark Carney. The King, who is head of state in Canada, will lay out the new government's agenda when Parliament reopens. It's very rare for a monarch to deliver what's called the speech from the throne in Canada, but Carney's trying to make clear the differences between the United States and his country as President Trump continues threatening to make Canada the 51st state. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
Right now in Middle Tennessee, the Tennessean says blood donations will be open on Memorial Day due to what officials say is a critical blood shortage. Blood Assurance says the need always spikes during the summer. Donors going to get free T-shirts. O negative and AB plasma donors will get a $25 gift card. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Weather can change in an instant.
Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here from my friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, and we can still save you some big money on a new system if you need it. You see, the TVA rebates have been extended. That's right. So if you've been thinking about a new mini-split system, now's the time, man. You can get an $800 rebate on a qualifying 17 SEER 2 or higher system. The best part is you don't have to do any of the paperwork on the rebate. Busy Bee will do it for you, and then you just get the check in the mail. It sounds pretty good, man. And depending on your credit, well, you could be looking at up to 12 months with no payments and no interest on that new system. Busy Bee's also giving you rebates up to $50 on your tune-ups for spring and fall. Now, it's $50 each tune-up, and the Beehive Club membership comes with 3 tune-ups. The Beehive Club membership is only $99. They're paying you to become a Beehive Club member, so do that today. And if you need a gig, listen up. Busy Bee's hiring. They're hosting an open house on May 31st from 10 to 2. And if you've got 3 or more years of experience in plumbing or HVAC, they want to talk to you. The pay's good. The time off is good. The people are good. You're going to love working there. So if you have experience, or even if you don't, you're just getting started in the trades, they want to talk to you. That's Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, 615-775-7833, 615-775-7833, BusyBeeHVAC.com. 11:37 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. Hey, don't forget, we got our mid-year review coming up Tuesday, June 17th. The whole squad's going to be there. King's Dining and Entertainment. It is free for you to attend. We love doing these kind of parties. It's always a blast because you guys always show up and show out. So we want to see you there. King's Dining and Entertainment, Tuesday, June 17th, totally free. Details online, 997WTN.com. We also have a big open house happening at the Glock store Saturday, May 31st. Mason's going to be there. KGB is going to be there. And the one and only Matt Murphy will also be there. So put that date in your calendar as well.
I'm hype. I'm going to be there. I'm ready to shoot some guns, ready to take some pictures, hang out with you guys, because I don't get to go very often.
No, usually you're back in the studio.
I'm stuck here recording all this stuff.
But I'm going to be busy looking for seashell formations. So
yeah, have your sweater and your phone ready.
I'll post all the political ones. I promise.
Anything Chris sends me on that day, I'll share with you guys if you're at the Glock store event.
Absolutely. And then you got to shoot that APC-9.
Dude, I'm so excited.
If you didn't see that, I posted a video on my X and my Instagram.
Yeah. I watched your story yesterday. You fired the first couple bursts, looked at the camera, and went, "Whoa!"
Yeah, it was pretty fun. It was pretty fun. $18,000 firearm.
Yeah, I was like, "That's more than my car." That's
like, hello, Mr. Loan Officer. Would you take this as a down payment? Maybe.
I'm just trying to buy a house here.
Man, we went. I don't even know how many bullets the magazine held. I just know it went real quick.
The gun.
That's a technical term. In case
Thank you,
wondering.
Burrow Bullets.
Yeah, shout out to Burrow Bullets. The Burrow Bullets are the best. But yeah, that's gonna be a fun day.
Yeah,
I'm bummed I'm missing that.
Dude, I'm so excited.
Yeah, you're gonna have a blast, and you can rent that APC-9 there that day for just $35.
Yeah, that's super. Oh my goodness, I've been to other shops. It's at least like $60 to even like be able to hold it.
You got a mag dump.
Yeah.
Got to do it.
I got it.
Yeah, you need to get in there. Take a video when you do, and let me know what you think.
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
All the details for all the events, 997WTN.com, as always. As we go through the day, man, there's something that I wanted to get to. Did you see that the video had been released of the Milwaukee judge, Hannah Dugan, leading the illegal alien out of her courtroom? Have you seen this?
No.
It makes it so much worse because you have to wonder, did she really think she was going to get away with this? If you're watching on the stream, you're going to see the video. If you're listening, you'll hear the narrator breaking down exactly what happens. The judge distracts federal agents, sends them to another room, and then walks the illegal alien out of the courtroom. It is insane that she thought she could get away with this. And there was a second judge helping her the whole time, which I don't know that judge's name, but I'm wondering why she wasn't charged also as an accessory in this. But listen to this, and if you're watching on the stream, check out exactly what happened when they snuck Eduardo Flores Ruiz out of that courtroom in Wisconsin.
He meets his attorney in the hallway and walks towards Circuit Court Judge Hannah Dugan's courtroom. Along the way, he passes plainclothes federal agents who are sitting on a bench. They are there to detain him. After Flores Ruiz walks by, the agents turn to each other and appear to confirm his identity amongst themselves.
Yeah, you can see one federal agent smile, and he has that look on his face like he looks at the other guy, he's like, got him.
Yeah, I was going to say,
got him. Right? That's the look. That's the look. He gives a little stretch.
That's the look.
He gives a little stretch. He's like, got him.
That's him.
That's our boy.
But a few moments later, Judge Dugan and another judge approached the agents sitting on the bench. A criminal complaint against Dugan later said she was alerted to their presence by a court official. That complaint says during this interaction, Dugan and the agents disagreed over the type of warrant they had to arrest Flores Ruiz. According to the complaint, Dugan ordered the agents to go to the chief judge's office. Video shows her pointing them through a double door.
So she knew that this individual had a warrant. She discussed the warrant with federal agents, and then she says, actually, you're going to need to go talk with the chief judge over there in that office. Okay? Are you following so far? So the agents confirmed it's Eduardo Flores Ruiz, the individual that they're looking for. They get a little giddy. They get the got him look. In enters Hannah Dugan, who waddles on over and says, the warrant you have isn't right. And they start discussing the warrant for Eduardo Flores Ruiz. She knew what they were there to do. And she says, you're going to need to go to this office over here and speak with the chief judge.
She then turns back to speak with other agents further down the hall and orders them through the doors.
So she ordered 2 sets of federal agents through the doors, right? 2. You got to go somewhere else to the federal agents, Hannah Dugan says.
And orders them through the doors as well. Shortly after that, with the agents gone from the hallway, Eduardo Flores Ruiz and his attorney exit into the hallway through a different door. As they walk down the hall toward the elevators, they pass another plainclothes federal agent neither they nor Judge Dugan seem to have noticed at the time. That agent motions to another to follow Flores Ruiz. Security video shows Flores Ruiz exiting through a basement exit. Upstairs on the 6th floor, the other agents have left the chief judge's office and worked their way downstairs.
I can only imagine that they're pissed at that point, right? Wouldn't you be pissed? As they probably realized that they just got handed an okie doke, right? Like they ran them through the okie doke, and now this illegal alien is sneaking out through a basement door. Luckily, though, there was one federal agent who they hadn't noticed. He was in plain clothes, and he is keeping an eye on the escape route.
Flores Ruiz left the building onto 9th Street. Videos of the street shows the agents catching up to him. Flores Ruiz runs across 10th Street while trying to get away, but the agents catch him and arrest him.
He almost got hit by a car. Did you see that? The way he sprinted across, he almost got hit by a car. So in the course of trying to protect an illegal alien, Hannah Dugan almost got him hit by a car. I'm glad that this judge is pinched. I think that she needs to face some serious repercussions on this. And this is what we're up against. We're up against the Democrats, we're up against the media, and we're up against activist judges. Make no mistake about it. And it's a hill to climb, my man. We want to do this. This is what we elected President Trump for, to get these illegal aliens, these murderers, these rapists, these gang members, and these terrorists out of the country. Yet the Democrats keep getting in our way. Carolyn Levitt was talking about this yesterday.
And finally, in other news, the Department of Homeland Security conducted a deportation flight from Texas to remove vicious illegal criminals in the United States. All of these individuals were sent, or are trying to be sent, to a third country. And President Trump promised to get vicious illegal alien murderers, rapists, and pedophiles like these out of our country, and he is trying to deliver on this promise. But no matter how upset this makes Democrats, we will continue to deport these monsters to keep Americans safe.
And for that, we thank you. Now, she's talking about how everybody's up in arms over the deportation flights to Sudan. And me, personally, I think it's great. I'm a huge fan of it. Listen, what kind of a deterrent would be better than an individual wanting to come here for pure economic reasons or to spread chaos in this country? What better deterrent is there than saying, oh, really, you want to sneak into America? You're probably going to get sent to Sudan, or you're going to get sent to El Salvador. I think that would make a lot of illegal aliens reevaluate their position on sneaking into the United States or staying in the United States. I think this is fantastic. And I think that this individual, ICE Acting Director Todd Lyons, will also make illegal aliens second guess what they're doing after releasing this video. He says, if you're hiring illegal aliens, we're coming after you. If you are an illegal alien, we're coming after you.
Hi, I'm Todd Lyons. We're here at ICE headquarters in Washington, D.C. Down in Florida, in the community of Wildwood, we just recently conducted a worksite operation where we got 33 illegal alien workers at the worksite.
I love worksite operations. I really do. Out of all the operations, I think worksite's my favorite because, again, it just reinforces that we will find you anywhere you are. And it also lets the business owners know we're not going to turn a blind eye to you hiring illegal aliens anymore. You need to hire Americans. That's good. That's good for us.
During that operation, among the 33 illegal alien workers that we did arrest, one was an MS-13 gang member. Several had multiple convictions of crimes, such as battery, DUI, and hit and run. We also located a child that was working during school hours at that site. When ICE does these worksite enforcement operations, we're focused on 2 types of criminals. First, the criminal alien that's here working illegally. Second, those business owners that actually hire these illegal aliens. These type of worksite enforcement operations uncover many other crimes to include fraud, identity theft, child exploitation, and human trafficking. It's a crime to hire illegal workers, and we will prosecute those business owners who are doing this.
Come to Tennessee. Please do. Please. I know that there's a lot of businesses around here that hire illegal aliens. We all know that. Come. I know. Listen. I know that it will leave the mayor heartbroken if you do so. It's a sacrifice I'm willing to make.
ICE is also focusing our efforts to conduct welfare checks on unaccompanied children. We're out there finding that these sponsors are exploiting the system to get access to these children. ICE cares about these children because many times they're exploited in forced labor, or in worse cases, they're sex trafficked.
And this is what the Democrats defend. These are the people that the Democrats are screaming and losing their mind about being sent out of this country. Individuals that are exploiting minors for work, but also for sex trafficking. And the Democrats don't seem to have an issue with it. The Democrats have more of an issue with the orange man deporting them. Get your priorities in order. It's insane.
It's a key priority for ICE to make sure that we locate and rescue these children.
Good.
Illegal aliens that prey on children are the worst type of offenders and have no place in our communities, and they need to be taken off the street. Our officers and agents will be out 24/7 to ensure that these child predators are removed from our country. If you're here illegally, I encourage everyone to leave on your own.
Yeah, by all means, you can get yourself a little stipend and a free flight home, and I'm fine with that. Goodbye. It's cheaper to do it that way than to have ICE go find you. But if you would rather take the latter option, we will oblige you. By all means, thank you to ICE. Now, again, the Democrats, they really put up a stink when you want to get rid of child rapists. Really do. We were talking about that deportation flight to Sudan. There's a judge that is trying to block that, ordered a stop on the migrants sent to South Sudan. So now they're stuck on a military base. But it's just ridiculous. The individuals that are in that deportation operation, we're talking murderers, we're talking rapists, we're talking child rapists, and these are the people that the Democrats are defending. It's vile. Yet here we are. Tricia McLaughlin was talking about those judges that are standing in the way of the Trump administration doing exactly what they were voted in to do, and she's not having it.
Assistant Secretary for Public Affairs, Tricia McLaughlin is with us. Tricia, thank you. It's pretty unbelievable. This is so basic and fundamental, and now the president's trying to enforce the laws of our country, and activist judges are trying to get in the way of him keeping the American people safe. Why do people have this belief system that you enter the country illegally and then you, quote, automatically have constitutional rights? You do not, in my view.
I mean, I would say that it's just a bit of propaganda and brainwashing via the Democrat establishment, via these colleges and universities that these Democrats are going to. I think that that's a big part of it.
Sean, you're so right. And this ruling is truly deranged because the facts are quite cut and dry. Every single one of these 8 individuals have committed and been convicted of a heinous crime that includes child rape, murder, even the rape of a handicapped individual.
And the Democrats will defend it. Now, in the case of that handicapped individual, it's heartbreaking that this was ever allowed to happen. Yet you can look at the Democrats and say you allowed this to happen. But they described it in the news article. He was a Lincoln man. He was not an illegal alien. He's, you remember this from Maryland, man. He's a Lincoln man. He sexually assaulted a developmentally delayed woman who had the mind of a 3-year-old. That woman is now pregnant. And the Democrats will defend these monsters. They'll defend it. I don't know how. And I don't know why they think this is a winning issue, but it's not. It's not. But we have these activist judges blocking it. Scott Jennings was talking about it, and he's on Abby Phillips' show on CNN. He goes, hey, I know that you guys want to defend all the newcomers, but allow me, please, to read you the crimes of these individuals that we're trying to send to Sudan, that the Democrats are bending over backwards to defend, much like the Maryland man.
They were convicted. Hold on a second. Can I read it? They were convicted. Maybe they were convicted of very serious crimes. I'll read it. The penalty that the Trump administration says is appropriate potentially could be death. I mean, right? I'll read it.
Yeah. Actually, the death penalty I do feel like would be appropriate for an illegal alien that rapes a mentally handicapped woman. I think the death penalty is appropriate for an illegal alien who rapes or sexually exploits a child. CNN doesn't, I guess, but I do.
Sex offenders, homicide,
Scott?
kidnapping, murder in the first degree, battery, larceny, cocaine possession, murder, robbery, DUI, child sex abuse, and sex assault on someone with a mental illness. The Sudan is too good for these people. And I'm not sure any other country would take them.
But what about their home country?
I'm not sure they'll take them. Would you take that person back?
How do you know that?
Well, one of them came from Cuba.
No,
I have to say.
How do you know that?
I don't care what we do with them. These are heinous, violent criminals, and they do not need to be here. That's all I know.
Amen. Listen, I think the most cost-effective thing to do would be wood chipper feet. First, I understand that would need to have some sort of bill to accompany it, get that approved, and it might be an uphill battle. But I think that's the only reasonable thing to do. Sudan is too good for these monsters. You're raping a mentally handicapped woman, and you think that you have rights? No. You can go live out your days in Sudan for all I care. And again, far too good for these monsters. It's 11:53. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
So let me just play. This is
11:58, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Mason Fleming's producing. Ken Weaver is in the newsroom. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC. So you know what I was doing during the break?
What you doing? Looking for seashells?
No, I got stuck reading about dolphins. I really did.
Oh no!
Listen to this. No one can argue with the fact that dolphins are truly the masters of good PR. Ready for this? It breaks it down in so many ways. Dolphins are actually vicious predators.
Yes.
Dolphins will kill their young.
Yeah.
Dolphins will kill the infants of other animals. Dolphins never sleep.
That's weird.
That's spooky. And then right after that one, dolphins can be sexually aggressive. And then right after that, it was what you brought up. Dolphins like to get high.
Yeah.
On pufferfish.
Drug-addicted mammals in the ocean. Not a fan.
What's wrong with them? Even makes sharks look nice.
They do, and I think that you can only blame one entity in all of this. It's Big Dolphin.
Oh, I was gonna say
China.
I think you can blame them too. Somebody on the line, I read that headline from Japan.
Yeah.
And they said that's karma because Japan historically has been awful to the dolphins.
Oh yeah.
Dolphins.
Too much.
Dolphins, when they see Dan Mandis get into the pool, right, to do the swimming with dolphins, you know what they say?
Oh yeah.
That's what they say.
That's a nasty one. That's nasty.
I know. Hey, I'm off all next week. I'm going to be on vacation. We got some great fill-in hosts like Des Dickerson, our friend Aaron House, and Cameron also will be in. So please hang out with us. Listen all week long. We appreciate when you do. Have the best Memorial Day weekend. Don't forget why we're celebrating. It's for the heroes that sacrificed all. We will see you in about a week. It's the Chris Hand Show on Super Talk 99.7.